I'm going to kind of call you out with this photo right here I printed off this morning.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
The caption says, "Happy G-Day to the realest dude I ever met. Love you, Brent. #Dream Chaser." He's wearing a Gucci shirt, if you can't see. That's really what it's all
Shout
about
out to Teresa Fleetwood for that Gucci shirt on my birthday. Thank you, Mom.
Bison fans, we're here playing Battleship. I am Nolan Schmidt, editor of Bison Illustrated, and we are here with redshirt senior 125-pounder Brent Fleetwood. Brent, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. When was the last time you played Battleship?
Dude, I don't even know. I probably had to be like 8 or something. I don't know.
Do you remember how to play Battleship? Is maybe the more important question.
I feel like the one I played was bigger. This one seems kind of like on the go or something.
Look at the box. I just wanted to show everybody at home. Look at that 1950s box.
It looks like it's been in one of those basements that like collects moisture.
Yeah, I think I see some mildew on it. We're going to ask you some questions, and then we're going to play Battleship while we kind of ask you the questions. And if you're all right with that, you can give me talk some smack to me. I can talk some smack to you if you're all right with that.
I'm fine with it. Let's go.
All right. I will start. I'll go with A3. My first question for you is, obviously, you're from Delaware, Smyrna, Delaware, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, I think NDSU fans or people from Fargo even don't really have any knowledge of the state of Delaware. If you had to give us in a few sentences what Delaware is all about, what would you kind of sum it up as, the state of Delaware?
I guess by to sum it up, Delaware is like a melting pot because it's a small state, so it's more like a melting pot with the states surrounding it. So, it's kind of like a little kicker off of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. Like for instance, like here, you got to drive 4 hours, right, to get to like Minneapolis, or you got to drive 3 hours, something like that, to get to Bismarck. Like where I'm from, I can get to Philly in an hour. Mm-hmm. I can get to DC in 90 minutes.
Sure.
And I can get to Baltimore in 90 minutes as well, So that's kind of, if that explains it,
Right. Did I hit on
No, that was a big swing and a miss.
Big swing and a miss.
Do I mark, do I put a miss if you, or?
You can put a miss on there. I have to put a miss on, what did I call, A4?
A3.
A3, all right.
And now do I call one?
Yeah.
Let's go C5.
C5, that's a miss. C5. So I guess my next question is obviously you grew up in Delaware, went to high school in Delaware, and then you went to Central Michigan. And then you obviously transferred to North Dakota State 2 years ago. If you kind of had to compare the people, because I think a lot of times when people describe the best thing about Fargo, they always say the people. The people are always so nice. They're always great. I'm not saying to speak ill of the people in Delaware, ill of people in Michigan or anything like that. But if you kind of had to stack up the differences in kind of the communities in those 3 states, how would you kind of do that? Like what makes Fargo and North Dakota different from Delaware and Michigan?
I would say, I don't really think it's as much like a personality. People say the Minnesota nice, North Dakota nice. I don't really think that I notice this huge culture shock with personality. I'd say it's more, Michigan is a weird state with how much competition there is when it comes to universities. So Central Michigan struggles and some sports are just, maybe as a school because they're competing with Eastern Michigan, the University, or U of M, Michigan State, Western Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, so anytime you have that many schools in a state, because Michigan, it's not a small state, but it's not a huge state. Mm-hmm. But here, this is Bison is everything here, you know? So like I said, I don't really think it's a personality. I don't get this North Dakota nice. I think people are people, and you're gonna gravitate towards people that are more like you or fit your, whatever, your norm. But here I'd say that because there's not a pro team and there's not a tremendous amount of competition in the state, it makes everybody really back us in athletics and, just whatever, just the roll herd or whatever.
Right, yeah.
In general.
And I guess my call, I forgot to make my call before I asked the question, but I'll go E7.
That's a miss.
That's a miss. Okay. First, I guess I'll call G. Or no, you got to call first.
I call.
I forgot the rules of Battleship.
Maybe you said G because of that's where your ship is.
Maybe it is. I'm not gonna let you know.
No. Let's go F8.
F8 is a miss as well.
Are you sure?
It is. It is. We have a GoPro up top there that will know that I'm not cheating. But anyway, my call will be H6. I want to ask you about your last weekend at the Cliff Keen, because you obviously beat a few ranked opponents. You made your way through that 125-pound bracket, and then you meet up with Sebastian Rivera, who obviously coming into the first duel in the season, that was kind of the marquee matchup with you guys at 125, and then he ended up not wrestling. And I know there was kind of at least me personally, I didn't know why he didn't wrestle. I don't know if you know. You don't have to admit whether or not why he wrestled or not. But I think the big thing for me was that obviously he beat you in that match, but then you have previously beaten him 2 times, I believe. And after that match, he kind of either said something to you or he kind of got in your face. I mean, I just kind of briefly saw the video. I don't want you to you don't need to say exactly what he may have said to you, but what was the gist of kind of what he said? Because more than anything, I was just impressed with the way that you handled yourself, because if somebody were to spout off to me or to Patrick, or videographer, I don't think I would have had the same reaction as you.
I don't think he was genuinely mad. I think he was excited. I mean, when I beat him, he was a true freshman. There's facts to be made. I mean, when you beat someone their true freshman year and you're a little bit older, there's some things to take into it, but wrestling's wrestling. So yeah, I beat him twice. He beat me this last time, but I think he was excited more than he was mad, because as soon as there's 4 or 5 seconds, and I felt him starting to, push on me, because I was on bottom and I couldn't get up. I kind of was not accepting the loss, but I mean, I was down by a deficit that I wasn't coming back from in 5 seconds, right? Yeah. So I kind of knew the match was over, and I felt him start to push on me, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna do something. And then when I stood up, that's when he kind of, smiled and flexed, but. What goes around comes around, and the season isn't over. And again, I don't really think it's real drama. I don't think the guy hates me or I hate him. I think it kind of adds a little, wrestling needs stuff like that. And I think Flo knows that, and they kind of, use that as a little platform to say, don't sleep on the sea bass, or don't accuse him of dipping or dodging, whatever you want to call it. And it's if you're number 2 in the country and you don't wrestle someone who's beating you, I mean, yeah, we're gonna say, what I mean? It only helps us. That's whenever you're that ranked, or whenever you're that highly ranked in the country, you have a target on your back.
Right. It's just it's a budding rivalry at that 125, because I think
it's a little dog syndrome. Everyone's mad or something.
Did I hit on, what did I call, H6? Did I not hit on H6? Okay, so you're up then.
Let's go J3.
J3 is also a miss. I'm not going to say whether you're getting hot or warm, but J3 is a miss. And going back to, Cliff Keen, and then the week before that in Bakersfield, which was a tournament you won at 125. What's kind of the different mindset that you have to have as a wrestler going into a tournament rather than a duel where you're having just one match and then you're done for the night, like you will, this Saturday and Sunday, compared to, okay, I'm having 2, 3, 4 matches in a day, and I have to be up for every single one, because I don't know if this next opponent is ranked. I don't know, what this guy's bringing to the table. How do you kind of prepare mentally and physically for that task? Because it feels like tournaments are just a huge, heightened, mental and physical task.
I mean, definitely there's a difference, and like you said, it's heightened. You're wrestling more. Wrestling's wrestling. I mean, you just wrestle the next match. But my thing is, I mean, for the first 10 years of wrestling, or I don't know exactly, from the time I was 6 to 14 or whatever, I mean, that you only wrestle tournament. You know what I mean? You don't really wrestle a dual meet that often. I mean, maybe there's a couple dual meet, some duels throughout the year. But even when you're little and you do those team duels, I mean, you're wrestling 6 times in a weekend, so it feels like a tournament. So I mean, to me, wrestling is tournaments. I'm not gonna I mean, I'm not saying like I don't wrestle for the team or anything like that. I mean, I just wrestle to wrestle, you know? Like if it's a dual meet and the team's going to benefit from me maybe doing something I wouldn't normally do, like, you know, if we really need a pin, you know, maybe I do something, maybe I open up and I start really trying to do something I wouldn't if it was a tournament where I just had to, you know, advance or something like that. So, I mean, I'll do what's necessary for the team, you know, and I'll fire the team up, and I'm fired up to wrestle dual meets. But in my opinion, you know, like when you're growing up, I mean, tournaments are wrestling. I mean, you wrestle to win nationals. Like, you know what I'm saying? We wanna put as many guys on the podium in March, and that's a tournament.
I didn't make a call before I asked my question, but I'll go D4 as my next call.
That's a miss.
That's a miss. Both of us are going a little cold here to start.
It's gonna be a long interview.
Long interview. Don't know if I have enough questions.
I don't know if I have enough energy. It's like,
all right, so you're up on the call.
oh yeah, J1.
J1 is a miss.
Dang.
Yep. So take me through the Fresno State duel, because, you know, obviously, usually the 125 leads off the duel. And from what I heard, it was the home team gets the option of choosing which match goes last, something to that effect. But and they chose 125. So you were the last match after the heavyweights. You know, going into that, knowing that you needed a certain outcome to win the duel, what was kind of your mindset heading into that last match?
I mean, I felt a little nervous. I definitely noticed that, you know, that there was some, the crowd was noisy, and, you know, there were some things on the line. But, I mean, I think, like, I don't think if I lost that duel, I don't think I would have lost the duel. But if I did lose that duel, like, I don't think, you know, the team would have shunned me or been like, you know, you lost the duel for us. Or, you know, it's like we all kind of go to war for each other and things happen. So, I mean, a lot of things happen. You can't blame anything, even though it came down to that last match. If I didn't get the major or we lost, it isn't like I lost the dual meet, you know. And that's the same thing for heavyweights majority of the time, you know. There's plenty of heavyweights where it comes down to them, and you know, if we don't get the outcome we want that last match, it's not like we get to tell the heavyweight, you know, oh well, thanks a lot, because you know the ball was dropped in other areas. But to answer the original question, I mean, yeah, I felt the atmosphere a little raised, but I didn't treat it any different, or, you know, it felt cool, I guess, after, because we won as a team and we got to, it was a long weekend. Right after that, we were back on the road. I think we were going to Bakersfield.
Sure. So my next question, I'll call, let's see, I4, and then my next question is, for last month's magazine, I sat down and talked with Cam Sikora, and I kind of asked him about the leadership dynamic on a wrestling team, because obviously it's an individual sport and you're looking to get that individual result, but it obviously plays into how the team succeeds, at least from a dual perspective.
Yeah.
And he referenced that him and you were probably two of the more outspoken guys on the team. And compared to like a guy like Andrew Fogarty or Cordell, who are, you know, kind of silent assassins in a way, pretty much, you know. So if you kind of had to sum up your leadership style, and would you kind of agree with Cam in saying that you're a little bit more outspoken on this team?
It's kind of like the coaches, right, where like everyone's different, you know. I think Cam kind of takes charge and he breaks us down, and I think I talk maybe more with like trying to get like hands-on with guys, or like if I see them doing something like wrestling-wise, you know, if I see them doing something that, or you know, I have like a little information or technique that I learned at Central, or just, you know, growing up on the East Coast, because like that's one of the big things about like that the coaches, you know, like Gerard, he's from the East Coast, but even like Kish and Negel, when I first got here, you know, they were like, we're excited to have you, not only because, you know, we have high hopes for your wrestling, but when you come from far, you know what I mean, from a faraway state or a state that we don't have a lot of guys from, you bring, you know, you have little tricks and just a different, they call it swagger, you know, you just, I carry myself different, and then it kind of goes into the leadership thing. Like, you know, just because me and Cam might talk more doesn't necessarily mean we're bigger leaders than Andrew or a Cordell. Like, you can lead obviously by example. So I'd say those two guys lead by example, and me and Cam definitely are probably the more outspoken ones, but just in different ways.
Did I get a hit on my last call? What did I call?
I4.
I4, my God. Okay. Please just get a hit so we can break the seal on this here.
H7.
H7 is a miss. The GoPro can go to the tape when they see this and know just how close Brent Fleetwood was with H7. I'll call B9. And one thing that I think maybe not a lot of people realize about wrestling in particular.
You got a hit.
I got a hit on B9.
Kind of upset. He scored first, but that doesn't matter.
Okay. It's on you to come back now. So my question is wrestling, you really, you referenced it before we started, is that you're always cutting weight. You're always, factoring in, you got to make this weight before the duel, before the tournament or whatever. And I'm interested to kind of find out how you kind of handle that from a diet perspective, because I think that's maybe something that outside of, the hardcore wrestling fans that follow it, they don't really know kind of what you guys go through on a week-to-week basis as far as the food you eat. So, I mean, if you could give kind of just a little bit of a rundown of what your diet is on a week-to-week basis so you can make that weight come tournament duel time every week.
All right, well, yeah, definitely for people that don't understand wrestling, they would probably jaw drop it, you know what I mean? Like that portion. I mean, that's really what makes it not fun, but if you have your diet under control, like that kind of, like the beginning of your week is going to dictate basically how the rest of the week goes, So like if we wrestle on the weekend and the coaches are really stressing in the airport on the way home, like, yeah, the tournament's over. That doesn't mean we don't, now we're training for the next thing. So don't go and get, just as big as possible. But at the same time, you do need to rehydrate or super hydrate your body. So I think everyone does it different, right? So I can't give you like this, this is the inside scoop on wrestling as a whole. But me being a little guy and a big little guy at that,
big little guy,
I probably get a little bit bigger than most people after a tournament because I lose more weight than the average little dude. So like when I get like a day off, I kind of hydrate my body. I don't stress too much on starving or going thirsty because I'm not afraid to work it off, and I'm good at losing the weight. So I think as long as like I put the fluids back in my body, then it's easy for me to work out and lose 4, 5, 6 pounds. The diet part, you wanna cut out things that retain water. You got to try to eat fresh. I stay away from red meat most of the time. Like I'm not out eating burgers and steaks. I kind of lean more towards like lean protein. And then a big thing this year with me is protein pancakes. Okay. That's like my go-to right now.
Yeah. How does that fit in to like when you're on the road then? Because I can't imagine that you're able to bring those items that you're so used to eating, like the protein pancakes with honey. How does that kind of factor into that then?
Then you just have to be a prima donna. Yeah. And you got to make the coaches pick up specific things when they go to the grocery store. Okay. Because they shop, before the matches. I mean, I'm kidding, but no, like if you got, that's what I like about here. Like they'll spoil you, you know what I mean? If you're like a freak about like I gotta have my protein pancake or I gotta have my Pedialyte and what flavor, dude, whatever. You know, if you want a great Pedialyte, then we'll find it.
All right, so I got a hit on B9. Yeah. So you are up on call, and then I'm about to.
B8.
B8 is a miss for me. All right, I'm about to do some damage here. I'm going to go with A9.
That's a miss.
Okay. So it's all about strategy in Battleship, folks, because now I know that it's going one of two ways. So I can maybe sink that Battleship. So my next question is, it's kind of a 50-50 wrestling question, because I think, when people hear wrestling, I think people think of professional wrestling, like WWE, like that sort of stuff. Because I mean, whether we like to admit it or not, all of us kind of grew up kind of watching that on TV and that sort of thing. But I'd like to get like an actual wrestler's perspective on professional wrestling.
I try really hard to not be a hater in most areas of life. And that's one area I think you could consider me a hater.
You just can't do it.
I just can't do it. I don't know. It's like first off, it's like kind of acting. Right. And then like you said, like like some teams that aren't Penn State and Iowa like struggle to fill the arena for like real wrestling, and then you got like grown men crushing beers on their heads and just going all out for dudes in spandex. I just think it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's to me, that's just a personal thing. I don't know, I wasn't a fan when I was little of it.
I don't know if I made a call, but I'm going to go B8.
Yeah, you hit me.
Okay, now I know where I'm going here. I think I'm onto something here.
Let's go D1.
D1 is a miss.
I'm done. That's
Making
it.
progress here. I got the momentum. We'll see. So, I printed off this fine, because you're a big Instagram guy, right? So you would say that you're a big Instagram.
Yeah, I like Instagram. I don't have
So-
Twitter, so that's my thing.
So I'm not calling you out, but I'm gonna kind of call you out with this photo right here that I printed off this morning.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
The caption says, "Happy G Day to the realest dude I ever met. Love you, Brent. # Dream Chaser." You're wishing yourself a happy birthday in this Instagram photo?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Why? Why are you wishing?
I would love to
yourself-
elaborate.
I would love for you to elaborate on this photo right here.
Well, I feel like on your birthday, you get away with whatever you want. Plus, like, I don't know. I guess I don't have any excuse besides I thought it was funny and it was my birthday.
I think the best part is
You're
that
just going to give me a birthday present on my birthday?
He's wearing a Gucci shirt. If you can't see,
That's
really what it's all.
Shout out
about
to
here.
Teresa Fleetwood for that Gucci shirt on my birthday. Thank you, Mom.
Oh my goodness.
I think it was definitely to get, you know, it's like that was like a love or hate thing. It was either like Brent's funny or it's like this
Is
dude.
this guy for real? Like,
Yeah.
come on. It's my call, and I'm about to sink this battleship with B10.
What did you just call?
B10.
Yeah, you sunk me.
I sunk one.
Sunk one.
Okay, I got one on the board. It is 1-0 Nolan as of right now. All right, so just know that
Yeah.
I'm in the lead.
We're about 2 hours in.
We're about 2 hours in. We finally got something. All right, you got to make the call now.
Let's go. A10.
A10. It's a hit.
Thank God.
You can bleep out if I swear, right? Okay.
I bet you that's it's the biggest one that what is it? The 5.
I'm not going to comment on what ship you just hit, but I'm going to say that it's just a hit. I always like to find out what athletes like to listen to before they compete. And it's just because you just get such a wide variety of answers and what's going through Brent Fleetwood's headphones.
I'm big into music. I really actually enjoy music a lot. But I listen to music when I'm cutting weight or like maybe a pre-match. But like once after weigh-ins, I mean, I barely ever really put the headphones on. I don't know. It's just always been. I'm not the guy that like. I don't like walking with my phone in my hand. I don't like walking with my headphones on. I mean, I listen to probably mostly country and rap, which is kind of, I guess.
Interesting dynamic. See, that's the one. Country is the one, and it's crazy because since I was born and raised in North Dakota, I absolutely hate country. I absolutely hate it. So if you had to narrow it down, it's like one of the most impossible questions. If you had to narrow down a top 3 country artists, top 3 rap artists, that always is kind of on repeat whenever whether it's you're cutting weight or whenever you're listening to music. Who are those top 3 in those respective genres?
Country would probably be Kip Moore, Eric Church.
I do know who that is.
And I don't know, maybe I'll go with a Brantley Gilbert. I kind of like, I'm not like
1 for 3 on people I know. Right?
And actually there's a guy, Corey Smith. He doesn't get like a lot of attention, but he's got a lot of really good songs.
What about rap?
Right now, I would probably go J. Cole.
Classic.
Kendrick Lamar.
Another classic.
And Meek Mill.
You go with the staples, so you're listening to championships is what you're saying. Yeah. He's going with the staples here, people. J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and then Meek Mill. I gotta get in the middle of this board here. I'll go G6.
That is a hit.
Okay. We have got some serious momentum on my side here, on the red side. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so you gotta make a call.
A9.
A9 is also a hit. What do you think is so special about this school and specifically about the wrestling program in particular, you think?
you know, I can feel that there's a bigger community support here. I mean, our football team wins national championships, right? So that speaks for itself. Like I don't really need to go into much more than that. That kind of brings energy. That brings a good tailgate. You know, that's a snowball effect. And then like with the wrestling, I mean, anytime you can get kids, you know, from you know, me and Lorenzo couldn't be from further away, but at the same time, it's funny because like we kind of not act alike, but you know, we kind of have a little bit of like a different swagger than, you know, a typical Midwest kid, or and the same, you know, like not to go back to Sebastian, but when he was like, I'm from
New Jersey.
Yeah, you don't talk smack. I'm from Jersey, and I'm like, does he know how close that is to Delaware?
Are you up? Are you up on picking here?
Probably.
You are on to me.
A8.
Okay, that's a hit. All right, that's okay. I got my own look here. I'm gonna go with E6.
Yep.
Which is a hit.
And then I'll go A7.
A7. Okay. Well, A7 is a hit and a sink.
Okay, so I sunk one.
Yes. So I'm assuming I'm gonna sink one right now with D6.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
That's I know what ship that is
dynamic.
now. That's the Battleship. So you can go again.
Let's go J9.
J9 is a hit.
He went with the corner method.
This is probably a really hard question to answer because obviously if you had to, you know, go back and redo it, you'd probably still pick wrestling, you know, 9 times out of 10. But you know, if you had a sport that you could play besides wrestling, what would it be?
Boxing.
Boxing. That's kind of similar to wrestling, isn't it? Why boxing? 300
million.
That's true.
Not nearly as much. There's not nearly as big of a like. It's a kind of a dying sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's easy what those guys do or anything.
Yeah.
But there's only so many punches. You know what I mean? Like wrestling, you can get in a scramble. Like wrestling is a sport where it's like infinite. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, there's no scrambles. There's no like you're upside down holding onto a foot, just trying not to get taken down. I mean, I say that, but then again, like I really don't want to, you know, get my brain knocked around. So if I could do it again, I'd probably do something relaxing like golf.
So we ran out of questions. I ran out of questions, not Brent, because Brent has all the answers. But I can definitively say that I beat Brent Fleetwood in Battleship because he only sunk one ship to my 2. Is that correct?
I'm in the process of sinking one.
You're not in the process of. You were in the. I will give you that. At most, we'll give him a tie. At most. But Brent, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day. I know you're really busy, but thanks for hanging out with us and having a little bit of fun in the process. I hope.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
The studio was. I didn't even know where the Bison Illustrated stuff came from, so I think it's cool to, you know, get a little inside look. And
this is the brain trust right here.
The studio makes me. This makes me feel cool. This makes me feel this cool.
That's what it is. That makes you feel happy G-Day, Brent. Hey Bison fans, if you enjoy what you just saw playing Battleship with Brent, be sure to drop us a like down below. If you want to see us play a certain game, a board game, card game, or if you want to see a certain athlete on with me, be sure to leave a comment, name, you know, what kind of game you want to play, and we'll do our best to make it happen. If you want to keep up with our latest videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button below as well. If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter @BisonMag, and you can follow our Instagram @BisonIllustrated. Pretty easy to find us on those social media channels. Also, be sure to subscribe to the actual magazine because everybody likes having that magazine in their hands every month. You can go to BisonIllustrated.com and hit on the subscribe tab.